The book of Ezekiel opens with a sensory assault. The text describes a massive storm cloud flashing with internal fire. Out of the lightning emerge 4 living creatures with shifting faces: human, ox, eagle, and lion. Beneath them are overlapping wheels covered in eyes, moving in all directions without turning. Modern readers often struggle to process this imagery, labeling it a psychedelic hallucination or an ancient encounter with a UFO. But the ancient Near Eastern context suggests something else. These verses are not a record of chaos, but a structured architectural blueprint. Ezekiel is describing a mobile, divine throne chariot. This mechanical schematic was designed for a specific purpose: to shatter the geographical limits of traditional Israelite theology and authorize a difficult prophetic mission. To understand this vehicle, look at the setting in July 593 BC. This is the Babylonian Empire, located in the desolate plains between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Ezekiel is a Judean prisoner of war living in a labor camp by the Chebar Canal. He is part of a captive workforce forced to rebuild the region's massive irrigation network, which had been devastated by generations of war. These prisoners faced a theological crisis. Orthodox Israelites believed God's presence was geographically locked to the Holy of Holies in the Jerusalem Temple. Being trapped in a labor camp 500 miles from their religious epicenter meant the exiles believed they were entirely cut off from the divine. In their eyes, to be removed from the land was to be removed from God. For God to reach Ezekiel here, the divine presence had to shift from static architecture into a mobile entity capable of penetrating enemy territory. We can begin the blueprint breakdown by isolating the vision's arrival vector, a severe atmospheric disturbance approaching from the north. The text specifies driving wind, dark clouds, and flashing fire, conditions that mirror ancient storm god appearances found in texts like Psalm 18. This imagery identifies the vision as a theophany of judgment. This is a hostile military manifestation, not a rescue operation. The engine of the schematic consists of 4 living creatures representing domains of earthly power: human, ox, eagle, and lion. A central spirit acts as the animating force, functioning as both the engine and the steering mechanism, providing power for instant, multi-directional movement. This design eliminates the mechanical need for turning. The divine vehicle can advance in any direction based purely on the spirit's impulse. The ground mobility system is famously described as a wheel within a wheel. This is not 2 flat intersecting circles, but a multi-directional globe. The wireframe reveals a spherical cage formed by overlapping perpendicular rims. As this globe rolls, the specific rim touching the ground provides the necessary traction for that exact vector. This spherical chassis creates an all-terrain mechanism. It is built for total spatial dominance, unconstrained by earthly physics or conventional roads. Attached to the chassis is an unsettling detail. The rims of these wheels are described as being full of eyes. While modern interpretations often depict biological eyeballs covering the machinery, the historical context points to a different source. Ancient Near Eastern wheels used heavy wooden rims protected by shiny iron nails to prevent wear. In this visionary state, these polished nailheads appear as eyes, translating a structural necessity into a symbol of divine omniscience, a 360-degree surveillance capability. The chariot is built for both total mobility and absolute surveillance. It strips the exiled Judeans of the illusion that their rebellion is hidden from God. Above the chassis, supported by the creatures and wheels, lies the vision's payload. Over the creatures' heads is a massive, transparent platform that shines like crystal. This platform is a scaled-down firmament, the cosmological dome that Genesis 1 describes as holding back the heavenly waters. Resting on top of this firmament is the silhouette of divine glory seated on a throne. The throne is surrounded by a brilliant aura resembling a rainbow. This is the traditional bow of the storm god, positioned to fire lightning arrows. Every terrifying component of this apparatus serves one purpose: to transport this sovereign presence directly into the physical reality of the labor camp. Leaving the macrocosmic architecture of Chapter 1, the focus shifts to the physical commission of the prophet himself. Ezekiel is handed a scroll covered in writing on both the front and the back. Its contents are grim, consisting entirely of words of lamentation, mourning, and woe, intended for the rebellious exiles. Ezekiel is then commanded to physiologically ingest the stockinant, to chew and swallow the papyrus. He obeys, and despite the message of absolute disaster, the scroll tastes as sweet as honey in his mouth. This sensory paradox represents the total alignment of the prophet's will. He finds deep satisfaction in executing divine authority, regardless of the harshness of the message. The vision ends abruptly. The noise fades, and the mobile throne chariot departs. The Spirit physically transports Ezekiel away from the site of the vision and back to the Tel Aviv settlement. His return is not triumphant. He does not arrive feeling empowered or euphoric. Instead, he collapses among his fellow prisoners, sitting completely stunned and emotionally devastated for 7 full days. The mechanical terror of the throne chariot vision prepare Ezekiel for the intense resistance he was about to face. God made his forehead as hard as theirs by first showing him the unstoppable architecture of divine judgment.